morning. Today, I'm going to share with you, it's a to-do list of what you should be doing as you're going through the writing process of writing your personal essay, okay? We yesterday set up a place to gather our evidence yesterday in Google Drive. So you created your folder that had your thesis statement, and you shared that with me, and as long as you shared that folder with me, I'm able to see all your other subfolders in your thesis statement and your evidence that you've started to collect for that. Okay? The next thing after that is to start under your evidence in those folders for your reasons to support your thesis statement. You need to list some true stories that match your reason. Those are taking those events that have happened in your life and writing actual narratives about them to support your evidence. So in my reasons, I have Nathalie talks like the grown-ups do in her life. So Nathalie wants to grow up because she talks like the grown-ups do in her life. My evidence is that story about how she gave me a timeout. Okay, remember she put me on the stairs and yelled at me and told me I wasn't listening. So I want to make sure I'm putting stories in my evidence. Then I want to draft the part of each story that matches. So in my story when I wrote about the timeout, I jumped right to the part that matched my reason, that proved Nathalie talks like the adults do in her life. Narrative? Have a seat, Marquise. So I did talk about what was going on earlier that day. I jumped right to the important part that helped back up my reason and proved it. Then I want to gather some lists. So we talked about how not all the time does our evidence need to be a story, but sometimes it can be a list. We want to gather a variety of evidence. What does variety mean? Kathy?
More than one.
More than one. One thing we talked about this morning was fruit snacks, and they come in a variety of flavors. Well, you want to have a variety of evidence, meaning you want to have stories. You want to have lists. You want to have different stories, Vinny, and different lists, okay? So I had, for one of my pieces of evidence, I had my list about all the things that Nathalie wants to do by herself. So Nathalie wants to grow up because she wants to do everything by herself. And then my list was all those things. Going to the bathroom, pouring her milk, cleaning up after herself, right? Once I gathered all my evidence, and really this first part right here is gathering a variety of evidence. And that's what we're working on today. Okay, we're looking in our folders in our drive and making sure, do I have enough evidence? And once you have enough evidence, then you're going to go back through and you're going to choose the best evidence for each reason, because you might have more than one piece, Marquise and Sam, of evidence to back up your reason. Then you're going to put that order in evidence that makes the most sense, and you can just take and you can cut and paste it and you can put it into one document. And then you're going to check, revise, and then we'll move on to this stuff later on. But right now we're really working on gathering our evidence. So if we take a look in my drive, okay, I have my folder, Nathalie wants to grow up. She talks like, let me delete this real quick. Oh, I want to get that back. Uh-oh.
Undo. Hit undo. Click undo. Click undo.
Where?
Up.
The yellow thing.
Not that.
Yes,
Oh, I
click
see.
undo.
Okay, thanks guys. Okay, this is the one I want to remove. Okay, so I have my story in here about my timeout story. Nathalie wants to grow up because she tries to talk like the grown-ups do in her life. For example, and then I go into my story about the time she put me on a timeout. Okay, then I look back at my folder. Nathalie wants to grow up because she wants to do everything by herself. And here's my list of everything she wants to do by herself. Okay? But when I look at my folder about she's going to be a big sister soon, I don't have any evidence in there. So that might be where I want to start today. And this morning I was kind of unclear of what evidence I wanted to put in there, but I was talking with a friend, classmate, and she asked me if Nathalie puts her baby dolls to bed, and she does. She practices putting her baby dolls to bed, and she says, I'm going to do this for my baby brother. So she's starting to think of all these things that she's going to do when her baby brother comes, that she's going to do to help out. Because now, now that the baby's here, it's going to be her baby. She's actually starting to say, my baby. So she's practicing putting her baby dolls to bed. She's pretending to change their diapers. She's pretending to feed them. All of her play now is starting to be around what she's doing with babies. So I might, instead of writing a story about a time Nathalie played, I might start to list all those things that she's doing. So under here, I'm going to create a new document. And I'm going to change the title of the document up here, and it's going to be my list of things she's doing now to practice, right? And then I'll start to write my document there about all those things she's doing to practice for when her baby brother comes. But I want to make sure that I have a variety of evidence. So I have this piece of evidence. Once I write it, I'll have that. She tries to talk like the grown-ups do in her life, and I actually had another piece of evidence. She put her water bottle on a timeout this weekend because it spilled on her. So she put it on a timeout on the stairs. Yeah. Okay. And then she wants to do everything by herself. I have an example. I have a list of the things she wants to do by herself. So now that I've collected a variety of evidence, I might start to put those in order. Okay? But what you need to do today is make sure that you collect a variety of evidence in each one of your folders. Okay? Make sure you share that folder with me. Allie can turn on this. Do you guys have any questions before we get started?